Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing It's a Wonderful Knife. Did you get
not the knife before Christmas?
Not the knife before Christmas.
As I twas
no,
the
but
knife
there's a
before
specific
Christmas.
reason for that title, because about 20 minutes in the movie, I went, oh, they're literally doing that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joining me tonight, first up from Indiana, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
Next up from the bucolic Pacific Northwest, please welcome
Hello.
Ariel.
Sometimes
Not
I think you only invite me on so you can say bucolic.
Just so I can
again.
say that word.
Yeah.
Not bucolic this evening. Her neighbor's fighting.
Ooh.
True.
On air.
Yikes.
And last up tonight from Manhattan, New York City, please welcome John Schnars to the show.
Hopefully no fighting here this evening.
John, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about your doppelganger Sebastian Stan playing Trump, young Trump, in an upcoming movie?
Casey sent that picture out, and
It looks like you.
It's
you.
It's weird. I didn't love it. I wasn't super pumped about it. So,
Oh, I love it. So excited.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like pulled straight out of my dreams, that image. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's take a quick break here and discuss It's a Wonderful Knife.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. From the prime time. Main feature.
Some fun behind the scenes trivia for this week, John. We were supposed to review Outwaters. The Outwaters?
The hours.
The
Yes.
Outwaters. What happened? Why aren't we reviewing that, John?
I watched said film. Ariel, have
whole
you
thing?
seen The Outwaters?
Did you watch the whole
So
thing? Oh.
I haven't, because Rachel told me that it was terrible and that you're just looking through like a little circle for like half the film.
Correct. That
Yeah.
that is accurate. That is an accurate representation.
Oh,
It's-
thank you, Schnars.
So I watched it on like Sunday night, because that's typically when I watch the pod movies, or maybe I only got through half. I can't remember. And I don't know. I texted you guys and I was just like, look.
Well, that was, my experience was 20. You were 20 minutes in, and you started. There's different levels of like John being angry at a movie, and up to a certain point, it's really good for the show. I'm like, and I enjoy it. It's good, But
Yes.
there's a level past that where we leave constructive territory, and 20 minutes into the movie, you were far beyond that level.
Well, here's what I'll say. This is like a bonus review that people are getting here on the Bloody Good Horror podcast this week. I would say at the end, first of all, it's outrageous how long it is. It's truly like one of the more offensive lengths. It's only maybe like an hour and 50, but the movie there's like 40 minutes charitably of plot, and so there's just no reason. By the end,
That'd be a great review. Just John. There is no reason.
no, I mean by the end there's like a kernel. You know what it reminded me of? Who are those guys that did like The Endless and Spring?
Yeah, those guys, the brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're actually brothers. I think they're just like bros. I think they're bros, not brothers.
Benson and Moorhead. That's it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's like one of those movies which I tend to not love,
Same.
but like real bad. Like it's like a lower production value
It
version.
made
of one
you
of those
appreciate
movies.
them more.
It made me appreciate like the best version of what they do. Yes. I don't know. So
I can't believe you watched the whole thing, because I thought we decided pretty early into your journey that we wouldn't even do it.
no, only after I watched it and I was like, look, we can do this because I've watched it, and at this point, but I was just like, I really don't know that you guys need to watch this movie at this point.
So you
So-
watched over 3 hours of movies for this show this week.
yeah, correct.
But like Eric was saying, you could hear the escalation. If you've texted with Schnars, you can see the escalation happening. It starts out with, it starts out with, holy shit, there are a lot of ads because we had to watch it on Plex.
Oh my god.
Then it follows up with, we get a vague question, have you guys started this yet? And then like 10 minutes later, I'm just gonna put it out there. This is not top 10 material.
Well, that was the other thing that was getting me worked up. Is I was like, we're trying to squeeze in something here for the end of the year that's like maybe it's gonna make the list,
And we didn't anyway, so.
no, totally.
But I'll tell you this, I did see that this movie was 87 minutes and I got aroused.
So
That's
yeah,
where-
it's just
That's
beautiful.
where we want movies to be.
I think I texted you guys, but the other thing I watched this week, because I've seen a lot of movies this week, a little Godzilla -1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've heard that's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
you guys
boy.
are trying to get me out to the theater, and I was like, it's not.
Here's the thing, I'm putting it on my top 10. It is horror. I think it's listed as horror on IMDb as like on one of the
Well, we've
services
reviewed
in the
the
genre.
last couple American Godzilla movies.
It's great. It's just it's so good. So, did you guys watch, by the way, the Kong X Godzilla or Godzilla X Kong?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks
Looks
so
silly, but
ridiculous.
fun. Yeah. Well, what I thought while watching the trailer was like, I've seen all of these modern American, the Kong movies, the Godzilla ones.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't tell you a goddamn thing that happens in any one of them, but you always leave the theater being like, that was fun. And I
I
remember John
forgot
C.
about-
Riley was in that one.
I forgot about them going to the center of the earth. That was in
Right.
That was the whole last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like upside down or something.
Well, it's like
It's
both,
both
sides.
sides.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's science, John.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
John, back to the topic at hand here.
Knife.
It's a Wonderful Knife. Mm-hmm. Please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word is easement. That's EASEMENT, easement. We'll get to where I pulled this from, but easement can be a right to cross or otherwise use someone else's land for a specified purpose. And then it says literary, the state or feeling of comfort or peace. That
Oh,
seems a little
interesting.
much.
I've
It
never
comes to
heard-
us.
I guess I've only heard it used in the real estate sense.
Well, there you go. That is why I was knocking around. I wanted a real estate word for this here film, and I landed
So
on.
would you say,
easement.
John, that I provide you easement every week?
Sweet Jesus, no.
No.
Am I? Is
talk about
that
this
yes
by
ending?
tomorrow.
I don't even know which one I'm doing anymore.
It's
sometimes,
not.
but-
It's kind of adorable how little you're able to yes and even when you think you're doing it. So it's all right. All right. Ariel, what'd you think? Oh wait, I'm sorry, John. Tell me about this movie.
yeah.
We skipped the whole.
I mean, look, we can just get right into it. I mean, Eric, you teed it up.
Justin
It's-
Long is wearing fake teeth, and I don't know why. That's my synopsis.
We're gonna do a couple minutes on the whole Justin Long package here because it's crazy. It is truly. We'll
He's
get to
just
it.
listen. He's just a delightful little man, and I love any time he's in my life.
So it's a wonderful knife. Here's how I would describe this. I'm gonna steal from what was going to be my review, but I've been thinking about this since I watched it. This movie is basically the SNL writers were like, hey, how would we do a horror spoof of It's a Wonderful Life? And then they made this movie. And I mean that in the like, they made the SNL fucking Broadway video version of
Yeah.
an extended sketch that the sketch itself wasn't even that good. And they just kept doing it and kept making it a movie. So it is a spoof or a parody or an homage of It's a Wonderful Life, but done as a slasher.
Is this a spoof? I mean, I guess it's like a
Spoof is not the right word.
takeoff on
It's
it or
it
something.
is an homage or
Yeah, okay.
It's an homage. That's probably the most appropriate term. But
maybe I don't know what spoof. When I think spoof, I think of Leslie Nielsen, but I realize that's like the most absurd degree.
no,
to that.
that's fair. I mean, Scary
Maybe I don't
Movie
know
is
what
a
that actually
spoof.
means.
This is not spoof is not correct. It is an homage. Like they're very much doing a pastiche of It's a Wonderful Life. It is set in like modern day whatever. The premise is that Justin Long is a real estate developer in a town whose name I'm not going to remember. West
Angel
something.
Falls.
Angel Falls. But he's developing like Westway or West something. Like,
Everything's in his name.
oh yeah, because maybe his last name is West. In any
It's
event.
very 80s property developer.
Yeah, so he's developing this. It's like a mixed use commercial property, and he needs to like take over one last house, and it's like an old man and like a high school girl. It's like her grandfather that she lives with. I don't know, whatever. They're not going to sell. Justin Long, who his right hand person is Joel McHale. Joel McHale's daughter is sort of like the main character of the film. I mean, she is the main character of the film. She's the one it's her wonderful knife that we're reliving. She basically, there's like a killing spree that happens to solve the real estate problem. That ends with Justin Long being killed by Joel McHale's daughter. Flash forward a year, she's now sad because she saved everyone from or like killed the serial killer, and like
She's sad because her best friend was murdered.
well, lots of people were murdered, and she's also sad because like she's sad because like they don't talk about it. Like the town tried to like forget that this happened. She's also being like threatened by Justin Long's brother. Whatever. She then wishes she was never born, and so then she goes to live the next day or whatever. She wakes up and it's a world where she didn't exist. All those murders happened. And not only that, but now the town is basically run by Justin Long, who is also still murdering people, or like there are murders that have continued. And it's like murder village, and no one knows who she is, obviously. Her mom is like seeing lots of dudes even because her dad is like very depressed or something. It's wild. But that's the setup here. What else do you want, Eric? What else is that? You're muted. I can't hear you. I don't
Good
know.
Lord. Who made
Yeah.
it is what I said.
Oh, so the guy. So this is the interesting thing. It's Tyler McIntyre is the director. He did one of the segments of VHS 99. He is also a writer on Five Nights at Freddy's. This is
There's
he
a
did
credit.
one. He did one other movie, like one other sort of like feature horror thing called Tragedy Girls, which I haven't seen.
It's good.
Okay,
Oh,
so
didn't we do that?
if we did, I didn't watch it, but it's like a movie I remember people liking in like 2017, maybe something around that time thereabouts.
I'm Googling it.
The writer of this movie is a guy named Michael Kennedy, who we know as the writer of Freaky, which was the like body switch movie between
Vince
I can't
Vaughn.
remember. Yes, Vince Vaughn is the
Yeah,
guy.
we
and then
did-
who was
we
the
did do-
young lady? And
We did do Tragedy Girls. It's pretty good.
okay,
Oh, I do remember that.
it's yeah.
From what I
the hell?
remember.
Catherine Newton, is that who does the body switching with Vince Vaughn? I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
In any event, on the like poster for this movie, it says from the writer of Freaky, which is sort of amusing because that wasn't like a humongous hit.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's better
It's
than
no, it's a
this.
fun movie, like for sure. But I don't know, like if you're basically pitching this movie to only people who liked Freaky, you're starting with like a pretty small segment of potential consumers. Yeah, so that's it. That's the creative team. I mentioned Justin Long, Joel McHale. There's a bunch of teens and or young people in this movie who, some of whom I recognized more than others. The main character is a woman named Jane Widdop. Yeah, she has a wonderful knife.
Love it.
So
Okay. Ariel, what'd you think?
So I get the sense from the way you guys have been talking that nobody liked this movie, but I actually did. So I think I might be the like lone dissenter.
I'm sorry I was being nasty.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I know that it's not perfect. There are definitely some things that could have been done better. It could have been polished up. Not all of the dialogue totally works, but I thought it was really fun. I love a good like holiday themed horror movie, and It's a Wonderful Life I watch every year, so it was kind of perfect for me in that way. I think that a lot of the kills are super fun. I think that the main characters, Winnie and Bernie, are really sweet together and really cute and likable. And I think that it's still somewhat rare for us to get a more mainstream horror movie where the queer character isn't like a side character, like a friend who's in it for a little bit, but that the relationship like at the heart of the movie is a queer one. So that's cool. And also Justin Long, you guys mentioned this, but like he is so ridiculous and campy in this movie, and I had a lot of fun watching him. So I don't know. I had a good time with it. It's not perfect, but I could see rewatching this one, next year at the holidays.
Casey.
I'm actually kind of right, pretty close to Ariel there. I had fun with this. It's not a good movie. There's a lot of problems with this movie. I found the opening to be confusing as hell for a minute. Just because it went right into it, and then you see that person died. There's no explanation or nothing. It's kind of like, what the heck did we? Because I even checked to make sure that it did start playing at the start of the movie. At one point, I didn't like that. There's a lot. I think it has some problems with that, where it doesn't flow as seamlessly as you would think a slasher would. But the tropes of it playing off of the original movie, It's a Wonderful Life, and whatnot, I thought was pretty well done. I enjoyed those pieces of it, and I enjoyed most of the cast for the most part. I'm a big Joel McHale fan. I think he's kind of underused here for the most part. He's more fun when he's being an asshole. Justin Long, though, I thought was fantastic in this movie. It just cracks me up. He just goes full in, and it's a delight to watch. More than anything, and I didn't realize it was him for probably the first 10 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so funny.
John, you're over there shaking your head.
All right, here's my Justin Long thing. I was struggling so hard to place the voice, because there's a voice affect that he is doing here.
Yeah.
I think it's Tootsie. I think he is
You may be
basically
right.
doing.
That's interesting.
I think he's doing Dustin Hoffman as Tootsie, but then he's like doing it as a man. It's like the intonation and the
that makes this
cadence
movie
of
better
how
for
he
me.
says some of the things.
You may be right, Stars.
There's like a handful of line deliveries where I'm like, there's that, they're like famous scene in Tootsie where he's like monologuing pretty aggressively, and there's a couple line deliveries here where there's almost like a lisp to it. I don't know. In any event, I found Justin Long, like, I very much enjoy Justin Long. This is like one notch too far probably for me. Like, it was just like, okay.
Oh, for me, it made the movie watchable. He could have gone farther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I agree in that, and I was joking that this is like an SNL sketch that got expanded too long and like doesn't really hold together. Like, there's a version of this that's funnier that I would like more. That's basically, I guess, my takeaway.
Do you know what it's called? Totally Killer. It's if you strip away. Now here's the thing. Hear me out. Okay, we did Totally Killer like 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
If you boil it down to its essence, it's kind of the same movie. It's like a tragedy happens, and then a year later you have a character that is essentially not recognized now in the world they're in. Now, in one instance, she's in the past. In this one, it's like It's a Wonderful Life, so none of the people that she knew in her past life recognize her. But it's essentially the same type of gag where it's like a fish out of water kind of a thing. And the difference being that Totally Killer leans way into the comedy, and it's all about that situational humor. Whereas, like, I don't think this movie is very funny.
No, well, I also think. Okay, so I'm gonna say two. You're not. That's a very fair. I like, it makes sense what you're saying. Structurally, we were talking about this movie's short. It's like only an hour, whatever, hour 85. Like, it's under 90 minutes. For that version, like for the comedy to work in the version you're talking about, they set up a ton, right? Like, there's like 25 minutes before the title card or whatever. It's like 20 minutes before the title card, and then before she gets kicked. So you're actually only in the the alternative universe for a fairly short amount of time. And part of that, I think, is because they introduce so many goddamn characters that they then want you to like experience and care about and like draw comedy from, versus like if you're just sending her back to the past in Totally Killer, you sort of like, it almost doesn't matter because it's mostly just jokes about the time and not about who these people are. Like, you're meant to care that like the mom is like different than the mom in the alternative universe. I mean, it's funny. Like it is funny. Like whatever. That like it's not that funny,
Yeah.
but it's like ridiculous.
That was one of the funnier gags.
Yeah, well, and that actress does a good job sort of like hamming it up. And then like to Casey's point, Joel McHale is like negative funny in the alternative universe. Like
Right.
he's like very like depressing and sad. And so yeah, it's look, for me, my guess, I don't know. I'd be curious, but like my guess is there one of two things happened. They either like developed this forever and could not get it right, and they were finally just like, yeah, this is close enough, and like let's just shoot it, or they got this guy from Freaky and they were like, hey man, like you're hot, we love what you did with Freaky, you've got
What do you got?
2 weeks to write It's a Wonderful Life in a horror movie.
Wow.
And he was like, great, like give me some Adderall and like I'm gonna do this, because it feels so underworked at times.
I agree.
Yeah.
It does not have a
Like-
strong through line.
So I don't know, maybe they just like maybe they shot more and they edited the shit out of it. Like it does not feel fully baked. And I would put it probably on the script, but it's maybe like I said, maybe the script was 200 pages and they were like, fuck it, none of this is working, let's just get like an 85-minute version of
Yeah.
this and call it a day.
Yeah, I would same with you, John. Like it's
So
pretty
nice to
Yeah,
have you.
it's rare actually that you line up like this. I like it, but it's pretty flat. I think I'm missing that comedy that like a Totally Killer had, where there's a lot of humor to be made out of the situation. There is, I guess if I have a favorite part of it, it's like that relationship with the main character and that girl. Like I think that actress that plays the sort of loner girl has a lot of charisma, and like the two of them I think work well together. But its biggest problem is it's just kind of boring. Like the whole second act, it ceases to become a slasher during the second act, and so
Yep.
you're just running around doing this It's a Wonderful Life thing that I kind of care about it, but I'm here to watch people die.
But I'd
John.
rather
That's why I'm
watch
here.
It's
Well,
a Wonderful
and-
Life.
Or at
dude.
least to have the threat of them, like some kind of threat, right? Because
And the
it's a
kills that
slasher
are
movie.
happening, there's like 2 kills that sort of
They're
happen
pretty
in that,
sweet.
but they have I didn't even know who the one guy was. And
Yeah.
Right. And
Maybe
once
I
we
just-
are back in the
He was-
new
yeah.
timeline, yeah.
He was random crackhead girl's random boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Why was
Anyway,
everyone
like-
a crackhead in this alternate reality? Like I was trying to
Because the
Well,
whole
because
town's
everything went
depressed.
worse. Like in It's
Gotcha,
a Wonderful
gotcha.
Life,
Okay,
when George
gotcha.
Bailey goes back, people are having problems with like drinking too much alcohol.
Right.
and
That makes
So
sense.
they've like updated that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say. I would not say
That's
it's terrible, but I think your thing, John, of like, it feels a little underbaked for sure. Justin Long is the best part of it by far. In fact, like I would like the whole movie to be the movie that he thinks he's in.
Well,
Yeah.
can I
'Cause
tell
he
you
is,
about that?
He is acting to a ridiculous degree where like if everything else was reaching that level around him, like now we're cooking. We're in business here. I don't understand why he has fake teeth, and it bothered me the whole movie. Like,
Okay,
why?
so-
Look, Ariel is going to lay it on you right
Go
now.
ahead.
So.
So I actually interviewed both the writer and the director of this movie for work about a month ago.
Ariel,
And-
you got to lead with that. What are you doing?
Sorry. So the thing that the director, Tyler McIntyre, told me is that Justin Long actually came to set with those teeth and with the desire to wear that wig and to get a spray tan.
And then you let
And it
him
was
do it.
all
Yeah.
built into his character, and like he wasn't sure if like they could really do that, and he like the director talked to the producers and stuff and was like, I swear, like Justin Long's really into it, he wants to do the character this way, so they let him, and he just like
That's
went
very
off
like
with it.
Nick Cage of him, which I like to hear.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it
also,
is.
like if he shows up to set in your little independent horror movie, that's the right decision to let him do
Right.
what he wants.
Just let him go.
Well,
He just makes
like,
everything better. And honestly, like if you put a lesser actor in that role, then for me this movie is like
completely
like
unwatchable.
nothing. Yeah.
Well, so he is like the ultimate baddie, right? Like, because there's a little bit of you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on in this future universe. I mean, you know what's happening, or not future, but alternate universe. They make him so cartoonishly evil at the end with the whole like,
Well,
crucifixion.
That stuff for me
So-
went way off the rails, like with the whole town and the eyes and like
But
Well,
there's
here's
a
my
little
que-
bit of just like let him do that earlier. Sorry,
I got a
go.
question for you guys because I asked
Yeah.
Colleen this when we were watching the movie, and she thought I was nuts because she says they're not at all the same. But that second act's pretty much Back to the Future too, the Dark Biff timeline, right?
Oh, is it?
They
oh,
even
gosh, it's been a
show
while since
because
I've seen that.
when she first came back and found out that he was running the town, and they
That is
showed
kind of
his
Back to
big
the
mansion,
Future too.
his big
Okay,
hotel,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
like the Big Biff
Because
super
Biff has
tower.
taken over everything. Yeah,
And
Yeah.
then the whole town's run down, which is the same thing Biff did.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's what happens in It's a Wonderful Life, too, though. Because, like, when
Yeah.
George Bailey comes back, the rich guy has made Pottersville. Everybody's in poverty, living in this little shanty town he's created.
So was Back to the Future 2 homaging It's a Wonderful Life? As
It
well?
could have been,
I mean,
but here in
This movie's
Sorry,
too
Ariel's,
old
Hollywood,
for me
bro.
to have seen it.
I hate to
but
tell you.
here in Ariel's story about how Justin Long showed up with the teeth and wig and stuff like that, kind of makes you wonder if he pushed for all that stuff too. That's like what he was channeling when he was going for it.
Telling you, you watched Tootsie like 2 days before, and he's like, guys, I've nailed this character.
We need to get like him and Elijah Wood in the same movie because
That would
they
be
both have the
fun.
same modern trajectory of just doing like very out there, authentic stuff that's just off the rails.
Imagine like not a goofball comedy of him and Elijah doing the Hardy Boys. That'd be hilarious.
It's like
Interesting.
it's like a
I would watch
Venture
that.
Brothers
That's a
like
wild
live
idea.
action or something.
Exactly.
But they're like old and washed up.
Yeah.
I'll say, let me say some nice things because I meant to say some nice things when I was like starting but I went right to the negative. I very much enjoyed. I for whatever reason this year I'm just like in Christmas movie sort of like I'm down to watch some Christmas movies. My kids are watching a lot. We just watched The Grinch tonight. Like it's just like and that was fun. I was excited. I thought like. And I was going to ask Eric about this because you tend to have strong opinions. From a cinematography standpoint,
I have strong opinions. I didn't know that.
this like looked like, what the hell was, I'm going to forget already, the movie we just watched.
That was flat.
No, well, I meant more that it's like 90s slasher. I guess Thanksgiving is where I was going. It's got a little bit of
I
that like
gotcha,
90s
gotcha.
slasher aesthetic to it. I also
It
I
felt
like
like
the
a-
killer.
yeah.
I like the killer
I
design.
like the costume.
Yeah, I
like
think it
it's
looks
not
cool.
scary, but from an aesthetic.
But I liked
point
how
of
it was
view,
like
liked
holiday,
all the
what's
white.
like the ball, like it's like a Christmas ball that you would hang on your tree, and so
Oh,
like
okay.
there's a
Yeah.
couple like close up shots of people like right when the killer's up in their face, and you're getting a little bit of that reflection, but it's white. I don't know. I like the killer.
No, yeah,
design
I
for
was
a bit.
into the design.
Yeah, I thought the
They did-
design of the knife was really cool, too, with the angel wings on it, on the hill.
Well, see that knife, and when he first showed up with that knife and the whole cape and white and everything, my first thought was, "Oh God, it looks like Moon Knight."
It does look like it's basically like a white version of the Scream.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a bit of a Moon Knight vibe there for sure.
I thought they had fun with the kills in this too. I mean, that was a highlight more than what was going on in the plot. They put them together. I don't think that they were necessarily practical effects, but there were some good ones that made me chuckle. Like that very first one that opens the movie, when our first introduction to the killer, bursts out of that snowman outside the window or whatever. It was A+.
Yeah, I liked the candy cane through the back of the head. I thought that
Yeah,
was
that
really-
one was good too.
Yeah. The Justin Long electrocution, I was down for.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good, too.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a shame because this could be, and I don't know, maybe I'll watch it again next year if that holiday spirit just like captures me. There's not a lot of like Christmas horror movies that I like go back to. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about Santa Sleigh over here many times, but for there to be something that's like dialed in, to be sort of like a little light and fun, still hit some of the spooky vibes, and then also be Christmas. I mean, there's a lot to get done there.
Santa
Yeah.
Sleigh, John. I'll bring it back.
Yeah,
to
I mean, I think
the
this
OG.
one leans more into the like heartwarming storyline than the horror and about the halfway point. And I think maybe that's part of why you're not as happy with it, because I think those first like 20 minutes there is a lot of good action and some good kills, a good
Yeah.
setup, but if you're not into the sweet relationship between the two main characters and them kind of trying to solve this mystery in
I
the
was
movie
fine with it.
theater
I would have preferred that they found a way to keep the tension running alongside of it because I think
get
it would
that,
have
yeah.
it would have helped the whole thing feel a little more energetic.
Well, and I think they lean more into that tone, like Ariel was saying. So when they do sprinkle in the tidbits of relevant information. It feels more like info dumps. Like when they started talking about it was just an offhand comment about how the killer was taking out the kids of the business owners, and it just felt like an info dump instead of actually being worked into this story.
Yeah.
That I felt like that just came out of nowhere a little bit. I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah, they showed a
Okay.
couple. They showed a couple, like a closed store, a store that was closed down, out of business. Then all of a sudden, they're killing all the kids of the business owners, and taking over businesses.
I'll tell you my favorite moment. I will say something positive, John. It's when right after it's as she's realizing that she's in some other weird reality and she's just seen a murder, and Justin Long shows up as this creepy developer dude, and he like hugs her in the most uncomfortable way and starts like whispering to her, and then she makes a comment to him about how the killer smelled like him, and he just gives this great like evil villain face.
It's really good. Yeah.
The whole
That's a great
sequence is really
moment.
good.
I also really like Catherine Isabel in this, playing the aunt. I thought she was really good.
Every time I see
mean-
her, I'm like, oh, hey. She's still
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to see her, but also I just feel like she sort of had this like sarcastic edge to all of the humor that she put in the film. And I almost wish she had been in, like, had a bigger role in the film.
Yeah.
Was
She
this a
great.
Canadian production? Because I know she's Canadian.
Oh, really?
It
No, I
wouldn't
can't
shock
remember.
me.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was all those Ginger Snap movies. Those were all Canadian.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, they did a good job of letting us know that she's eccentric enough that she was into, with the comments that she's into Wicca and stuff like that. So when we get into this different timeline, and the daughter tells her everything that happened to her, she's like, "Oh, okay."
There was
Yeah.
a joke. I did enjoy the joke, John, about an Aguilaran thong.
That was pretty
Yeah.
good.
What's an egg?
And they didn't explain it, which was perfect. Like they just
No,
went,
you definitely don't need to. It's funny, like
Um,
Eric, you were joking about how you were like, "Oh, there she is," like Catherine Isabel. She like is in a ton of shit. She has like 130 credits. I'm kind of mind blown.
Yeah, she's been a lot.
yeah, just not stuff I'm seeing.
No,
I
no,
liked
it's-
that her name, the character name, was Gail Prescott too.
Yeah.
You get it, John?
I do. It's a little on the nose. Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, I would just say that I don't think this movie is perfect, but I do think that it does have a lot going for it. And I know that part of the writer's intention with this was to make a sort of heartwarming Christmas movie with slasher elements, mostly because he wanted to make something that had like really positive and lighthearted kind of queer representation, instead of having a movie that was focused on like the trauma of coming out or something like that, to have something just be kind of more lighthearted and normal. And I think he really succeeded with that, especially because Bernie and Winnie are like the best part of the movie in a lot of ways, other than some of those really good kills. So I don't know. I think that if you're down to watch something that's maybe a little more Christmassy than horror, then this is a good one.
Well, yeah, and I think your point, the killer, it's like a ridiculous setup that there's like a slasher killer who's like consolidating real estate holdings
Yeah.
and shit. Like, so that kind of lends to the sort of goofiness of it. I think the tough thing, and we've talked about this in other sort of horror comedies in general, is like you're trying to find that balance, like lighthearted, but then also like slasher killer is like not
It's a
super easy.
hard line. Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
Sure.
even we were talking about the like candy cane kill. I was like, oh, that's like a pretty aggressive kill. Like to do it lighthearted, you almost have to like pull your punches on the kills, and then the horror people get like, I mean, the us of the world are like, ugh, so dismissive. Like those kills were so lame, you know.
Right.
But I think if
It's a fine line.
it is, it's just like a really tough thing to nail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, and I agree that this one maybe didn't like hit the tone 100% for sure.
I was trying to think of like a good, like Happy Death Day. I can't remember all the
Yeah.
kills, but I feel like they're not
Happy.
super aggressive kills. And maybe I'm just like not remembering it.
They might be, actually. Well, no, because isn't it PG-13?
Yeah, it's PG-13, so I don't think there's anything like super
yeah,
gory.
You're right. You know what they did there though? and we brought that up when we reviewed Totally Killer. Happy Death Day is like a really visually creative movie, and so it was a lot of, if you remember, it was a lot of cutting away at the moment of impact, because then she would wake up because it was like a
Right.
loop movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
I'm just-
To Schnarr's point, that feels like a script problem, because they just didn't blend the horror and that lightheartedness as well enough.
yeah.
Agree.
Would you recommend this, Ariel?
Yeah.
Casey?
It's on Shudder, so I'd say yeah.
John?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm also going to say no.
Split down the middle.
There
Uh-oh.
you go. Split decision. Send it to
Something for
Supreme
everybody
Court.
here,
Start
or
fighting.
not.
All right. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
John, we had somebody pop into Slack today, Ashton. He is writing a paper about the Bloody Good Horror community for his PhD program. And was asking people about Slack.
Well, isn't that something?
And then someone was reminiscing about the day we all took a BDSM test together. To see where we were on the
I
scale.
did
I
not
would like to
take
see
the
the
test
results
for-
of that
You didn't,
test.
John, 'cause you're a
What?
buzzkill.
That was a good
know.
day.
I am a
Slack.
buzzkill. It is what it is. I know my role.
Hey, listen, lockdown Slack got real weird real fast. Like,
Yeah.
everyone was losing
Yeah.
their minds and just
Understandable.
blowing off steam.
I did.
And to be clear, we didn't say you have to go take this BDSM test. It's just somebody said, look at this test, and everybody else is bored and say, oh, click.
Yeah. No email. info@bloodygoodhorror.com. Caitlin from Kissimmee must be busy.
Wellness check on Kaylin. We'll wait.
Can
We'll
we
wait
get a
one more
wellness
week.
check? Yeah.
We'll wait one more week.
Couldn't even get on Twitter today because it kept saying, asking me to like prove that I was real, but then before I could type anything in, it would crash. So Elon
Oh.
Musk killing it over there. Nice work.
Yeah.
Oh, we did get an email from Randy, actually. I'm sorry. He was just saying that When Evil Lurks is one of the more traumatic films that he's ever seen. That begs the question, what film scenes have traumatized you?
Ooh. That's a tough one.
Man, like all of Martyrs, but in particular the bathtub. That I didn't even want to talk about it, but like that wasn't great.
I've never
And I
even
watched
seen
that
one
movie.
for that reason.
I mean, when did we watch that? 15 years ago, and I'm still
Yeah,
like
probably.
Yeah.
recovering.
I feel like half of Hostel. Like the
Oh,
first time you see
yeah.
Hostel.
Hostel. Yeah. I'll
Wolf
do it.
Creek too. That one got me, especially the like stabbing the spine and like paralyzing him. That freaked me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie.
But also dumb stuff. Like, do you guys remember the movie Becky when the bad guy like keeps punching the dog in the head? I still
Oh, yeah.
picture that all the time, and it makes me sad.
I don't remember that at all.
He lists like an understated one here, which I like and also freaked me out, is in the original Insidious when the old timey ghost kid is dancing in the house to the record player.
That is creepy.
It's not. Is it playing Tiptoe Through the Tulips too?
Yeah, that's when
Or was it playing something else?
I think it was Tiptoe Through the
I think it
Tulips, because
is.
you were freaked out by it on the
Well,
show.
that's where I discovered you guys
Yeah.
taught me about Tiny Tim, and I ruined my life forever. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay, we got a really good question from Alyssa on Slack. What is your favorite Justin Long in Peril movie? Drag Me to Hell, Jeepers Creepers, Barbarian, or this? Not that he's in peril per se in this, but
I love
not
Drag
really
Me
in-
to Hell. That movie's so goofy
Drag
and
Me to Hell
fun.
is-
Yeah, Drag Me to Hell's pretty good.
I would have said Barbarian I'm sorry. No, I would have said Tusk
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
until Barbarian came out, and Barbarian is like next
Wait.
level Justin Long.
He's the guy in Tusk who gets turned into the walrus? though?
Yeah.
The Tusk.
No, that's the winner. Come on. Definitely Tusk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
forgot
take
about
that.
Tusk.
I'll
I
allow that
forgot about
argument.
I don't know. Justin Long and his tape measure and Barbarian's pretty
The
great.
tape
though.
measure.
He is good in it. And I like that one.
I mean, just for overall Justin Longness, you can't go wrong with Barbarian. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Sure.
he gets a good 30 minutes of just hamming it up pretty much by himself on screen.
Yep.
It's really good. God, that movie was so good. That's like when we complain about 2023, it's because like there's no Barbarian. And that came in late in 2020. That came out like in the fall.
Well, yeah,
Or we saw it
like
later,
ramped.
maybe, or-
We saw it late, I think. It kind of ramped up. It was like
There's
a pandemic movie, though.
Nothing
It
of
was like-
that level happening this
Yeah.
year, John. I don't think. And except of course,
You haven't seen Godzilla yet,
Bo is afraid.
or Poor Things.
That's true. I'm pretty excited for Poor Things. All right, Casey, what do you got?
All right, we got a few threads out here this week. This first one is going to hit close to home for you, Eric. It's from the drummer from Foghat. Hey, Casey, does Eric just not know how to use threads, or does he just hate me? Completely skipped my question last week. I demand a heartfelt apology and more.
Oops.
No, that he knows that's my favorite name of people who write in on the show. But I was a little not prepared to read everything last week, so it was like
He was
pulling
caught
it
off
together.
guard.
Yeah, I had to bail out at the last
Well, his
second,
question
so-
is his question still there?
I don't know. It may be.
No, they delete them on Threads after 1 week.
Okay, John, shut up.
I would say, though, too, that you got to remember Eric's got like a cutoff as far as he reaches a certain time at night and he's ready for bed.
Oh, by this time in the show, yeah, I'm sleepy. Like that's
He's on his way out.
I can't be held accountable.
Next up from Calinot, gingerbread or shortbread?
Shortbread.
Yeah.
What is-
shortbread.
I
Although
don't even know.
gingerbread cake is really good. I'm not
What is
big into the
shortbread?
cookies, but
It's just like a sweeter. It's like a cakier.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
sweet vanilla and it's like crumbly.
Hmm.
Have you ever had $1 Million bar? The bottom of those are shortcake.
No.
Okay.
$1 Million bar.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
I'd go with gingerbread. I haven't had a lot of
I think I'm
shortbread
going
myself.
gingerbread too.
And you can build houses out of it.
That's true.
It's true.
When something's like, defining characteristics, it's stiff enough to build a house out of.
Right,
It's
it's
usually not
function.
like, questionable, but okay.
Next up, we have our buddy Popcorn Designs. What's your favorite non-horror Christmas movie? I watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation every single year, and it
Such a
never
good
gets
one.
less funny.
True.
Oh man, favorite non-horror Christmas movie.
Christmas Vacation's honestly mine too.
I love
That's
that movie.
a staple.
So we are
It
really
just-
into Home Alone because my kids
Oh,
love
it's
it.
probably
Another
Home
good one.
Alone.
That's a
It's
good one.
so good.
Does Scrooged count? Although that probably is a horror.
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, of course.
No,
It's kind of a horror movie,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Well,
That's
it's
more of
it's
a
a
comedy.
Christmas Carol,
Horror
like
comedy.
Yeah,
yeah.
that counts. I really
Uh,
love A Christmas Story too. Did you guys catch the reference in this one? Because in A Christmas Story, they like make him try on the outfit his aunt got him, and it's like a pink bunny costumes, and he has to come back
I
down the
didn't-
stairs.
yeah,
They did the
yeah.
exact same thing to her with the pink
Yeah.
sweatsuit.
I'm always down for some Elf. Elf is really
Elf
good.
is great
great.
too.
And I
Yeah,
love
Elf
to
is
bring
fun.
up, but I never remember the name of it. I think it's just the Santa Claus or something. But that demented '80s movie with John Lithgow, where he wants to like exploit Santa for business reasons, and like,
I don't think
Oh,
I've
yeah.
ever seen that.
I
is it
don't
the
know
Santa Claus?
No, the
Yeah.
Santa Claus is the Tim Allen one,
Yeah.
where he like kills
Like,
Santa
what's
Claus
that called
and
with
then
John
becomes him.
Lithgow? You guys make me Google this.
I know what you're
I
talking
am.
about, but I forget.
There is a movie called Santa Claus the Movie with John
Santa Claus the
Lithgow,
movie. That's what. It is.
1985.
There's a lot of like Coca-Cola advertising in it. It's Dudley Moore is in it.
Yeah, Dudley Moore's in it. Oh boy.
In ancient time, okay, hold on, I need to read this. In ancient times, a man named Claus, who delivers toys in his small village, fulfills his destiny to become Santa Claus after meeting an expert toy-making elf, Patch, played by Dudley Moore. Like already, there's so much lore. I love it.
Yeah.
In the present day, Santa Claus has become overwhelmed by his workload, and the disgruntled Patch flees the workshop to New York City. There, he unknowingly threatens the fate of Christmas by taking a job at a failing toy company run by a scheming businessman, played by John Lithgow.
My goodness.
And I just remember there's like a kid in the movie who's like homeless, but he's dressed like a little pauper. He's got a little hat on. And like he hangs out outside this girl's window that he likes, and she leaves her dinner for him every night.
I might watch this like soon.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes those movies when you saw when you were a little kid, so you just have like fever dream memories of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, A Muppet's Christmas Carol, too. I watched that.
Oh,
over
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, very good. The director of Santa Claus the movie also directed Jaws 2 and 1984's Supergirl.
Interesting.
I didn't know that last one existed.
And it looks like a horror movie called Bug, 1975. Casey, can we get a Bug check? That seems like something you might watch.
Yeah.
No,
If I haven't seen it.
unless it's based on the play or whatever. In any event, so yeah.
What was the what was that like Scandinavian, that weird ass Christmas horror movie we watched with all the naked old dudes?
Oh God.
Oh, something delivery.
Yes.
Right.
Fuck. What
Rare exports.
That's what
what
it was.
it was.
I knew it was in the
That's a good
delivery
one.
business.
That's all I remember about that movie is just naked old guys. I don't remember anything else about it.
That movie was so cracked out.
It was like
Yeah.
the men's locker room at the Y for 90 minutes.
I'll tell you, as far for me though, I got to rewatch it this year to see if it's going to stick. But that new movie that came out on Netflix last year with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, the Christmas movie, pretty
Wasn't it? I
decent.
thought that was on Apple.
It might have been Apple.
I don't think
pretty
I saw
sure.
that.
Yeah, well, because it's on Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be good. It's like a musical, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we loved it. We watched it like twice last year because we showed it to my parents after we watched it. So we're going to rewatch it this year. It may make the rotation.
There you go. Okay.
All right, we got two more out here. Next up, worst millennial. Why is the third act just a mess?
It's a little bit of a mess.
It's
Yeah.
also, is it 10 minutes long? I feel like
Roughly.
the third act of this movie is just like they were just like, fuck it,
Rushed
we're
through it.
ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like we only got 2 more days on set. We gotta wrap it up.
We didn't really discuss the very end too, where they just threw the rules that the whole movie just established out the window.
It's yeah. Well, that was also like the SNL sketch of it all for me. They're
Yeah,
just like,
very
I
much
don't know,
so.
it's yeah.
We're just gonna throw this in here. Last up, we have Apocryphiliac. Haven't seen this movie yet, but is it worth watching annually? Just once? Not at all. Somewhere in between.
I guess it
Christmas
depends on
horror
how-
is getting to be a crowded field.
It depends on how hard up you are for like Christmas horror, I guess. Like, but there's
Yeah.
plenty of stuff to pick from.
I say give it a try at least once. See what
Yeah,
you
I think it's worth one shot. We were just talking though. I mean, my Christmas, especially like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day viewing's pretty packed. It's gonna have to be better than that to make the cut.
fair.
And that's it for Threads.
Love it. We're also on Instagram, John. I had a moment of panic today because I had to get a new phone. We won't tell that story. It was my fault. But I had to log into everything, and I don't know if you guys remember, but there was like some drama a couple years ago with our Instagram password. We couldn't remember it. And yeah, anyway, I remembered it. It's the thing that all our passwords are, in case you
Oh,
guys
good.
need to.
Yeah, all right. Nice.
Not the first thing that we had them all as, the second thing we had. I
I actually don't know if I know what that is, but
I'll tell you when we're off air. Plug It Up Pod. Our friend Caitlin, is Justin Long the horror it boy? To me,
he's
he is.
an it boy for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, people keep calling him a Scream King now.
Him and
I love
Patrick Wilson, the Scream Kings.
Dude, did we talk about the fact that Patrick Wilson is playing Aquaman's brother?
Yeah.
Is like jacked in that movie.
We
It's
we
weird.
definitely did.
It's so
You brought
crazy.
it up. You're very you are worked up about this.
Yeah.
It's so out of left field. But then somebody pointed out James Wan. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
they work
yeah,
a lot
James Wan
together.
directed
it.
Man, a glow up there for Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, he's
And
kinda,
people
he's,
already obsessed with that dude, so like they're gonna lose their
And I
minds.
think Patrick Wilson is like walking around pretty good shape. Like I don't,
Yeah, but they HGH'd him
Yeah.
up. Like that's not Insidious Patrick Wilson.
they
Jumping
can
into
do
Aquaman.
they can do a lot with computers these days too. Like
well, in the rubber suits.
yeah.
That's pretty easy.
He's not doing any of the actual fighting, Eric. I didn't want to upset you, but
Are you sure? That's not what it looked like to
I'm
me.
pretty sure. He's not doing any of the moving
Oh,
water.
you
with
mean
his
in real
hands.
life? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Back off, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
He may be talking to fish though.
Yeah.
Are movies that have quote from the minds of / producers of / writers of always mediocre at best?
Well, this
Listen,
is the point.
it
I was
doesn't
making
mean anything
up
because
front.
it's almost never the actual people that made the movie, and it's almost always like a producer or a writer or
Well, no, but here they're
often-
very. It's like marketed as the writer of Freaky, and it's just
Right.
like weird to me. Like if that's the thing you're going to, I don't know. It feels weird.
Well,
it's always a
especially-
stretch. I feel like.
Especially since Five Nights at Freddy just blew up the box office like a month and a half ago. Why not put from the writer of Five Nights at Freddy?
Well, I mean, that wouldn't have
Yeah.
worked
That'd
on
make
me,
more
but
sen-
maybe some audience.
It would have made more sense than Freaky
Yeah,
that less people saw
True.
a couple years ago.
it's been a while too. Yeah.
Levi, what is the scariest aspect of the holidays?
Money.
I mean, just
Yeah.
from
That's
some
not.
of it.
You're not wrong, Casey. That's
Yeah.
Have you ever
That's what
flown
gives me
on
some
Christmas?
anxiety.
That's awful too.
flown on
Alone
Christmas.
on Christmas? No thanks.
Yeah, no. I would think it wouldn't be that bad because people would like want to be where they are on Christmas.
You would think, but everybody brings presents that are wrapped, and then you have to wait while they unwrap them to get them through security, and it's a nightmare.
That's
And
tough.
there's a
Oh
million kids.
Lord.
Yeah.
Can't they just like,
Scan
X-ray
it.
them or whatever? Yeah.
I don't know. I only did it once, but I got stuck for like 2 hours waiting while people had their suitcases gone through. So
Come on,
That's
people.
insane.
That's
you
what
got to get
FedEx is
that
for.
fast whatever. What do they call
yeah,
it, John?
that's true.
Well, they got clear.
Pre-check.
Yeah, you got pre-check. Yeah.
All right. What other classic Hollywood films would you like to see reworked as horror movies?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Uncle Buck.
Oh,
They're probably not classic enough.
I was like, I guess it's like
Uncle Buck
40
is
years
so
old.
Good. I love
Yeah, I
that
know.
movie.
that could be a fun horror movie, though.
yeah.
Doesn't he put on a hockey mask at one point when he's like threatening the kid?
Yeah.
God, that movie so I miss.
It'd just
John
be the
Candy.
same movie, but Uncle Buck taking that extra step.
Right.
All right, new question. Favorite John Candy movie?
Oh,
I mean,
It might be
I
Uncle
love
Buck.
just saw him
it
in
might
Home
be
Alone.
Uncle Buck.
I'm also obsessed with
Home
The
Alone
Great
is really
Out-
great too.
The Great Outdoors.
The Great
That
Outdoors
one's
is
funny,
amazing.
too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He's never not funny, though.
Yeah.
Now all I have in my head is, "Hi, I'm Buck Melanoma."
Agiza says, why do you always ignore my questions? If he really wants to know, he can submit to me a list of recent questions and I can tell him why I didn't read them.
Oh, so there was like a specific reason.
Well,
you
we
know
can't
it-
grow, John, if we don't explore these things, right? I can tell you that lots of people send quote unquote questions that are just they're trying to make jokes, but like that's my job.
Yeah,
You know?
no, that's true.
Can't have
This
people
is-
one-upping
this
you
Yes,
is an
on the damn
autocracy.
show.
Ask us something that allows me to yes and John. You know?
Fair.
Levi, we already kind of answered this. Like or dislike the costume?
I liked it.
I think we're all
Yeah.
thumbs up on the costume. Yeah.
Evil Moon Knight.
Evil
Yeah.
Moon Knight. Love it. All right. Last question from Zach. Is Justin Long still charming with the tan and those teeth? I really didn't like the teeth. It's just because they were distracting.
So
But,
weird.
but maybe I like them more now, knowing that that was him.
Yeah, I
He
mean, I
had
feel
blue-
like he wasn't trying to be charming at all in this role. Like
Yeah.
the exact opposite. He was either evil or annoying. You know.
You know, he had the blue contacts in, right? Too, right? That threw me
Oh,
off.
did he?
I thought he had some kind of
Maybe.
context in, but that made it pop in my head. We never mentioned it. There was that weird scene at the end where he's stabbing people on stage, and the
Yeah, no,
audience's
I
eyes are
mentioned that,
glowing.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but their eyes are glowing blue.
Oh, they did. You're right.
Right. Well, because she said that because of what they did, like it made things worse,
Ah.
and so that's why everybody was a zombie. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess that could have been the aurora or something reflecting in their
Exactly.
eyes. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
All right, John.
The Aurora.
What are we doing
obviously.
next week?
So we're gonna try to do Poor Things. We're gonna have to
That's
evaluate.
theater.
Yeah, it's also only getting limited this week. It looks like, and then it's gonna go wide on the 22nd.
So
There
we have
was-
to check availability.
Yeah, we're
I could
gonna
look
check
right now.
availability. There was one other. Oh, I'm pretty sure we said we might do his Satanic Hispanics.
That's
that
a fun
was,
one.
Yeah, that was the other conversation. So
All right, so that's good. Wait, so Poor Things is coming out this.
if you don't have it in your theater on Friday, then we're gonna have to do a video and then flip to
Gotcha.
Poor Things at the end of the year.
It will not. It's too early in the week. It won't tell me yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you go.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on mine.
Look, I'm also very prepared to do Godzilla, which, you know,
I'll tell you what. If we can't do Poor Things, this would be a week I think I could get Godzilla in
Let's do it.
because I'm looking. Yeah, it's still playing around here this weekend.
it's the highest opening gross for a live action Japanese film ever.
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
US.
that's
Wow.
crazy. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Most people love Godzilla.
But like Shin Godzilla, which I think came out during the pandemic, I can't remember, but it
Yeah,
was like
it was really good.
Are
but it
the
did not
American
do
films
well.
It's amazing.
made? Are the American films made in any way in conjunction with this? It's Toho, right? That does. the
yeah,
Japanese
they
ones?
license
Yeah,
like
it's just
Toho
that the
licenses.
stories.
Well,
and
they
timelines and
license
stuff
it,
aren't
but
Totally
like-
different, yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
totally separate, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I am watching. I may have mentioned these guys on text, but I'm watching Monarch, which is on Apple actually.
yeah,
as
how
much
is
as
that?
I finished it. It's okay.
It's I finished
aw.
the third. I finished the third episode. The first two, I was like, "This is pretty sweet." The third one, I was like, "All right, I'm giving it a go. I'm gonna watch a couple more." I think it's only 8 episodes or something anyway. So
I finished the whole season and I enjoyed it. It's just a little bit slower than I'd hoped for.
Gotcha.
it's every episode is basically like not a ton of stuff happening, or like one action sequence, like a bunch of talking, and then like one monster scene. It's like which it works. So
It's a lot of people essentially spelunking through an area and finding something, and then it's on to the next episode.
But I think it's an interesting exploration of the timelines that they fuck around with in the MonsterVerse movies in a TV show. Like, there's a lot of ways this thing could have been like unwatchably bad, and it's like actually pretty fun, is what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to check it out then. I like all the Godzilla stuff.
And I really appreciate how they're doing Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell in this.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
Agreed.
Oh, right, because his son is playing a younger version of him. Is that what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, they're
that is
jumping
cool.
between like 1954 and modern day.
He does have that chin.
Oh, it works because they are actually related.
Related?
Well, yeah, they look exactly alike anyway. So
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. Better
tired,
that than the
guys.
CGI de-aging. Yes,
Exactly.
Eric needs to go to bed. I'm sorry.
Let's wrap it up.
do it.
All right. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
See yous.
bye bye.